Alright, 1905 of the Media Wars 3 game. Now, in 1904, the stab on Austria was executed, and now Russia and I are somewhat allied against Austria. Meanwhile, France and Germany seem to have made up, and now they're focusing on England, both, and France is actually in North Sea, which is a nice place to be. So let's see what happens in spring 1905. Now, Turkey starts to jest and say, what a relief. Is everyone feeling as relaxed as I am? And I respond, no, wrong. The real winner here is my heart rate. Oh, sorry, you guys are still playing. How heartless of me to point out how delightfully relaxed I am right now. So basically now Turkey is enjoying life, unlike all the other players that are suffering because of this game. So we actually envy Turkey for his early elimination because he's actually having a better time than us. And England says, has anyone noticed how much quicker people are to stab in these 5-minute turn games? Yes, 5-minute turn games are more stabby, usually, because people are more incentivized to stab for two reasons mainly. Because the 5-minute turns doesn't allow you to have a very strict and loyal relationship with an ally, so you are more likely to not care about their feelings, which is something that in low-level games and even sometimes in high-level games can happen and can deter you from stabbing. But also it's because the ending of this game is in 1908, so sometimes you kind of have to stab. You can't wait patiently for the best moment 7 years in the future to stab someone. You have to take what you can get, because in 1908 the game will end and the one that has most centers wins. If this game was not limited, not time limited, maybe one wouldn't do that, because that would allow other players to grow exponentially and potentially solo. So stabbing can be bad in those cases, but here there's less risk in that sense, and there's more risk in letting your ally grow too much. So in a way, England is right. But at the same time, I will say that it's also a matter of perception, because since you're getting stabbed after, I don't know, half an hour, you reached an alliance with a player. Like, for example, England and France have been allies for a couple of years, which is 20 minutes in this game. And then France stabbed England. So England felt stabbed immediately by France. But actually they were allied for 2 years, which is not much, but it's not even nothing. I've had Blitz games in which I've been allied for 7 years out of 8 with a player, and they still perceived that my stab was early, even though the game was almost over. In a normal game, 7 years are a huge amount of time to be loyal to a player. It equals weeks of cooperation. But here, it just equals to about an hour and something. So I understand England's feelings. I think that even though stabs are more common in Blitz games, they are somewhat overstated by the stabbed players, because they feel like they've been stabbed immediately, not considering that it's actually been years of cooperation with a player before getting stabbed. And in the next turn, Austria agrees with England, saying yes, but it's usually too early. And England is pretty angry at this, saying to the point that it's pretty stupid. And let's just watch the autumn 1905 press. Turkey again says, not a care in the world. Oh, is that a bird song? Isn't nature wonderful? So yeah, Turkey living his best life, while Austria and England are suffering, and we also are suffering. Also in 1906, Turkey continues to amuse us with their messages in global chat. They say, it's good to have a bit of time to yourself, just to sit back, reflect. Austria says, I'll be there momentarily. England says likewise. And Turkey says, the worst part of this is that the rest of you have no time to reflect on the terrible, terrible choices you made, like eliminating Turkey. Just absurd. So let's see my press with players in spring 1905 and what decides in the end my moves. In spring 1905, England is asking me, will you attack France, since no one is fighting him, is likely to absorb me completely and instantly become as big as you, because I'm, I think, at this point, the bigger power, even if not by much. That place would have been Austria's if I hadn't stabbed them. And I say that I need a little bit more time, hang in there until I can turn again. And he says, I don't think I can. To which I can only respond, try. And he says that I shouldn't have started this thing with Austria. I'm sorry for England, because now he really needs my help. It's really the only thing that can save him, especially with Germany siding with France. But if I had continued against France, that basically I had an impossible choice of going against France and probably giving Austria the game, or going against Austria and probably giving France the game. But what can I do? I had to choose something, and I thought that stabbing Austria was the best thing. Of course, this is not what England would have wanted at all, but England is thinking of their selfish goals, of their survival, while I'm thinking more bigger picture at this point, and also I'm being selfish and thinking of what can actually let me grow faster. So Germany out of the blue says, I need your help against France again, all of a sudden. And I say, oh God, if I turn now, Austria is gonna kill me. Hang in, I'll be there as soon as I can. I don't know why, because I didn't know what was happening in their press, but maybe something had happened between France and Germany that made France very suspicious of them, and they want me to turn against France again. This may be hopeful for England, because maybe Germany and England are talking again, they're deciding what to do together. I don't know, even though I don't think they're in a great position to do so. But at the same time, I've just stabbed Austria. If I say Austria, let's make up, I have to turn against France, Austria would never believe me and attack me, and my stab would be abysmal. So no, I have to continue against Austria, at least for a little while. I am promising to Germany as well as England that I will turn again against France if I can, but that requires Austria to fall quickly. I don't know. Germany, if Germany wanted to go against France, they should have attacked France when I asked in 1903 to go to Burgundy, but they decided to side with France against England, and then for this reason I turned against Austria, and now I can't really help Germany. Germany and England are on their own. Austria is now playing the only card that they can play, so they're just saying you get nothing from me, and I say maybe so, it's my best shot, and they say it's not, you just can't see it, 1908 isn't 1905. No, it isn't, but they're quite near if you think about it. 3 years is not enough to crack France, even if I was in position to do so. Even if it was enough, you would have had a much better time cracking Russia, and you would have won. I at most could have aimed for second place and then not joining a game to get a second place. So I'm not even responding, because now I'm a little bit convinced that I have to continue against Austria. There's no other way now. Of course, Russia is now my main ally, so I've switched from an Italy-Austria alliance to a wintergreen, and Russia is at the moment the junior partner of the alliance because he's smaller, but you will see that, as is obvious, Austria will benefit Russia more than me because he's angry at me but not at Russia, and that means that will defend against me and not at Russia. So the prophecy of people advantaging Russia when they're being attacked from multiple sides has been fulfilled. I say to Russia, okay, so let's go all in. If we need to coordinate something, let me know. And he says, yeah, let's crush his bones. Then I ask, can you support Greece to Bulgaria? Seems like a sensible move we won't see coming. I just moved to Greece, so I don't think that he will use, I don't know, Serbia to support Bulgaria. So I think that might work, and I intend to move Smyrna to Kon to avoid the retreat, hoping that they don't move to Smyrna. It's just guesswork at this point. I need to be lucky to actually crack Austria from the south, because they weren't protected, they have a lot of armies. And he says, yeah, I can help you out with that. We have a good neutral line, and they say, great. Yeah, it's true. Italy and Russia can't actually fight each other. They're pretty natural allies in the beginning of the game, when Austria and Turkey are still around. When they actually start to border each other in the Vienna, Budapest, Romania, Trieste, Serbia, Bulgaria line, then they can become enemies. Spoilers, because, foreshadowing for the future. He says, perhaps you could help me take Romania next turn. And I say, of course. So My plan is to move Greece to Bulgaria, hoping in a support from Russia, hoping that Austria trying to defend also Romania, maybe loses Bulgaria. I'm also moving Smyrna to Con, guessing that they won't move to Smyrna. And since I can't take Trieste with these two armies and I need to involve this Roman unit, I will move Tyronia to Bohemia, Venice to Tyronia, and Rome to Venice, hoping not to get bounced. One of these moves will work, so I either get... No, actually, if they move Vienna to Bohemia, everything gets bounced, but I don't think that's likely. I think that I considered asking Germany for support Tyronia to Bohemia, but Germany has no reason to give it, so I didn't even ask. So let's see the moves. So I moved Tyronia to Bohemia, and the other two moves get bounced because Vienna moved to Tyronia, good move there, but I have a unit in Bohemia, and you will see that the unit in Bohemia becomes very important. I also move Ionian to Adriatic to have more units on Trieste, and Tyrrhenian Sea to Ionian gets bounced by Aegean Sea. On the other hand, even though I lose Greece, I gain Bulgaria, and better of all, Russia enters Romania and Galicia. So Austria is basically toast, even though Russia is set to gain more than me at this point. Now, and it seems like whatever Germany was telling me about needing help against France, they're still allied to a certain extent because France is convoying Belgium to Edinburgh but taking Belgium, so this seems arranged, and also Burgundy is going back. But France temporarily loses Liverpool to England. In 1905 autumn, England sends me basically a desperate message saying I'm about finished. If I lose any more centers, I'm going to start thinking about who has stabbed me and the fewest times that I can throw to. Yeah, I understand that. I'm sorry that I can't do anything to help you, England. I hope that you throw to Germany because Germany is less dangerous for me and can counteract France discouraging it to coming for me after you're done, but I don't even tell you anything, it's your choice. To France now I say, so can I ask for no fleets in Marseille from now on? You have no idea how Austria and England are mad at me for turning back, so you kinda owe me. Of course, there is no such thing as debts in diplomacy. France can build in Marseille, and the fact that I'm being harassed by England and Austria because of my choice of stabbing Austria is not really a factor in France's math. It's kind of a joke to try to convince France to do what I want, and he says, yep, happy not to build fleet Marseille, I'll be keeping an army there, so I won't be able to anyway, if that's good by you. I say, that's fine. So and then I add, so we're the bad guys this game, huh? He says, he loves monarchy, and then he says, bad guys have the most fun. I say, not we, I like to be the good guy. And he says that I'm the good guy in his eyes. Yeah, of course I am, because I chose not to attack you, but yeah, we're kind of the bad guys, because France is the stubby player in the north that attacked England, and I am the stubby player in the south that attacked Austria. The other players so far have not really stabbed so clearly each other, so I think that from Austria's point of view, I'm really bad, and from England and somewhat Germany's point of view, France is evil. So yeah, my communications with Russia continue amicably. He says that worked out well, and I enthusiastically say, that was great, take Budapest. And he says, let's hit him from all sides. We're basically pumping each other out at this point. And I ask, can you support Bulgaria with Black Sea? And he also says, I can take Trieste. I don't think I can. I can't guarantee it, because, I mean, I could. If I tapped Vienna and Serbia at the same time, I could take Trieste with Venice and Adriatic. I don't know if I saw this in game because, you know, New York time, but I didn't want to lose Bulgaria, so I'm asking for support there. So I'm not intending to move Bulgaria to Serbia. That means that I'm not intending to guarantee Trieste. Then he says, I didn't like to try to take Austria down. He had the audacity to take my centers, and I say we're doing just that, and quite well. So he doesn't respond to supporting Bulgaria with Black Sea. I don't know, or I don't actually remember what I decided to do. I probably decided just to hold with Bulgaria anyway and look for the support. This message, he had the audacity to take my centers, was the message that threw me off, and I thought that Russia was Florida Man. At this point, I was pretty sure that France was Captain Meme from the beginning of the game, but I didn't know who the other players were, and having never played with most of them, I didn't know their press time, but I knew Florida Man press time, and this message in particular seemed like one that Florida Man could write. So I thought that Russia maybe was Florida Man. I was wrong. Florida Man is England, but having not spoken to England that much in this game, I wasn't able to pinpoint him, and Russia wasn't Florida Man at all. I guess that Flash from Legendary Tactics has a similar press time to Florida Man, at least in my opinion. So of course I'm gonna try Tyrrhenian Sea to Ionian again. I'm gonna try for Trieste, but I don't think I'm gonna guarantee it. I'm gonna try to hold on Bulgaria and try not to lose Constantinople and Smyrna, trying to guess which one is Aegean trying to tap, if they're tapping any one of them, and let's see what happens. So I'm not getting support to Bulgaria. So actually no, I decided to guarantee Trieste. I correct myself. Since Russia didn't respond to me about the support in Bulgaria, I decided, what the hell, let's make Bulgaria useful, and I tapped Serbia with Bulgaria, I tapped Vienna with Bohemia, and I attacked Trieste with Venice supported by Adriatic. This guarantees that I take Trieste, and I take it. I also move Rome to Venice, so my units are all on the front line. As Tyrrhenian Sea comes to Ionian, I lose Greece, but I don't lose Bulgaria, because it seems like Austria thought that Russia could stab me by moving Romania to Bulgaria, but Russia didn't do that. They took Budapest with Romania, and they moved the fleet in Black Sea to Romania, taking both centers at the same time. So this turn I take Bulgaria and Trieste, and then lose Greece. They take Romania and Budapest, so we can see that Russia is growing faster than me, because Austria is prioritizing the defense against me. But since the Aegean Sea fleet was basically useless, because it was giving us support that was not taken by Russia, they neither tried to retake Bulgaria, and they could have by moving Aegean to Bulgaria supported by Greece, which would have meant that I wouldn't have gained anything this turn, because I would have gained Trieste but lost Greece. And they don't try for Constantinople, which was the center that I left open just in case Bulgaria needed to retreat there, and if Aegean moved to Constantinople, they could have taken it. They don't, so I go up 1, Russia goes up 2, and it's really painful for Austria, because Austria is losing Bulgaria, Trieste, Romania, and Budapest from the major power on this board. Now Austria is on their way out, only with Vienna and Serbia and Greece, only with 3 centers, which is less than England's. So poor Austria. In the north, we can see that France is still trying to eliminate England, and England and Germany are somewhat still fighting, while Russia has completely disappeared, relenting of their influence on the north by just retreating into St. Petersburg and not doing anything there. So Austria retreats to Trigonia, and in the build phase I built another army in Rome. At this point I was considering building a fleet, because just in case I needed to protect Tunis from a possible French attack, but I decided, let's build another army. Armies can be useful where I'm going, and I think that an army will make France happy, and maybe they will, not being scared by a possible attack on their southern centers, they will not focus on me at all. Austria destroys Aegean, which is great for me. This is a destroy that greatly advantages me, and Vienna, which is something that advantages slightly Russia. I would have preferred a destroy in Tyronia, for example. But the interesting build for me is Fleet Sevastopol. Fleet Sevastopol seems like Russia is going to stab me, because Fleet Sevastopol is only useful to attack Turkish centers, which are at the moment in my hand, except Ankara. So I actually didn't notice this, because so little time I didn't notice the fleet in Sevastopol. But just for reference, before we go on, in spring 1906, so plans, do we want to continue this winter game? After Austria is down, I mean, we can go for France and Germany and top this board together. I'm trying to convince him. I could do that, but when an enemy is almost down and the alliance that is crashing them is almost done with them, then they can choose to remain allies or attack each other, and I don't want them to attack each other. He says, this is working well. I'm good with uniting to crash the rest. Can you put France on the defensive? And then I realized that there's a fleet in Sevastopol that I hadn't seen before. And I say, I can, but what's the idea behind fleet Sevastopol, if I may ask? And he says, I've just got a group of armies not doing much. In retrospect, that is likely a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake. I think that Russia is intending to attack me. So I realize that the stab is coming. My stab sixth sense is thinking a lot. So I say, come on, don't stab. We would get stalemated and France will top, which is a real concern, actually. France is really strong. And for a good chunk of this game, France was the most likely person to top, maybe. Or at least I hoped that that was the case. But Russia, and they say we work together very well thus far, but Russia doesn't respond to this. I'm just gonna go on with 1906 at this point. To France, I say, hope you appreciate that I bring army and not fleet. And he says, I do. Happy to keep the DMZ for the rest of the game. We'll see if that's true. To England, and this will be my last message to England of the game, I say that Germany would be my choice, which player to throw to, because Germany can counterbalance Russia a little bit and France. But you can try to survive. The game ends in 2 years. England has not much choice to win this game or even to have a great result at this point, unfortunately, but they can try to survive and gain a survival in this game, since Turkey is already eliminated. And being eliminated is the worst possible outcome in this game. I think there is one possible outcome that is even worse than being eliminated, and that is losing to a solo. If one player manages in this board of top players to solo in only 8 years, the surviving players have reached the top level of shame, and that will be really bad. So not much press. I'm encouraging England to throw to Germany if they have to choose someone to throw to, and they can actually throw to Germany, Sweden, Norway and stuff like that. France has realistically can hope only to take Liverpool from England at this point, and it's not even that easy. While I'm expecting to be stabbed by Russia, I'm not really speaking to Austria, because I think that Austria wants revenge at this point, only with 3 centers. So even if I begged Austria to help me out against Russia, I think that would be counterproductive and would just piss Austria even more and give him reason to say that my stab was bad. So it seems that I have good relationship with France, not really a relationship with Germany, but I am hoping for Germany's best, and I'm about to get stabbed by Russia. So let's see what happens. So basically, I'm getting stabbed by Russia. Russia moves Moscow to Warsaw and Warsaw to Silesia, attacking Germany by surprise. At the same time, Russia gets Vienna supported by Chirongia, so Austria is full on throwing to Russia at this point, and Russia is coming to Black Sea from Sevastopol, which is really bad. I am going towards them, moving Smyrna to Constantinople. At the same time, Russia supports Romania, with Romania, Serbia to Bulgaria. So I will lose Bulgaria, and since I did cut Greece, but I did not expect Russia to support Austria, I am going to have to destroy this army. So the prophecy of Bulgaria being the graveyard of armies is true, actually, because I moved to Constantinople. So there is no place to retreat for that army. But on the bright side, I did move to Serbia, so I'm gaining Serbia at least in exchange for Bulgaria. And I have some hope to take Greece. I am also advancing my armies in Trieste and Venice, which is good. Yeah, we can see my destroyed army in Bulgaria. So in autumn 1906, I do something that I've been doing recently in diplomacy games. Personally, I'm not a fan of threatening people in diplomacy when they don't need to remind. I mean, threats can only anger a player. So when someone threatens me in diplomacy with an obvious thing. I'm not really glad they do it, so I don't like to threaten other players. But sometimes it's good to give the foundation to a player that don't attack me. It's not in your best interest. Don't do it because I can really hurt you if you do. And that's what I'm doing with France at this point. Still keeping my rapport with him, but also throwing in the bit of information that I really don't want to be attacked by France at this point and at any point in this game. So I say, so I'm under attack by Russia as expected. If you don't come for me, I moved as much as I can so you can top. If you come for me, Russia will top, which is a roundabout a way to say it. Your only chance of winning is not bothering me, because if you bother me that I'm the only one that is holding Russia back, Russia will win and I will let him win actually. But if you don't come for me and manage to take something from England and Germany, you can top maybe while I hold Russia back. And I'm actually, at this point, I was a little bit convinced that if Austria will continue to tank Russia out against me, Russia would have won or won the war against me, and that would have deprived me of my chance to win this game, which I was starting to hope for. So I'm saying, if I can't win, let France win, because France never bothered me. It's the only player that actually never attacked me or lied to me, except maybe England and Germany, but England and Germany can't do much about me. And Turkey, of course. France says, don't worry, I'm not coming south. I see the position you're in. Not sure I can top either. Germany and England both against me up here. And I was just stating the obvious, but yeah, I think that saying this was a good move on my part, a good diplomatic move, because now France knows that I'm able to throw to Russia if they come south. So this disincentivizes them from coming south, and we will see that when they have the actual thought of coming south, they are already in the mindset that it's not a good move, even if we throw. So it's not a new thing that I'm saying to them. In 1907, they will ask me if they can come south, and I say, no, don't do it, I will throw. And I think that having already warned them of this in 1906 was a good move on my part. With Germany, I say, Russia has come, time to face them. And Germany says, willing to, but what about France? Because at this point, Russia is a common enemy of Germany and I, but I don't realize how bad the German-French relationship is. So I don't think I can do anything about France at this point, but Germany seems to perceive France as the main enemy and Russia as the secondary enemy, and without Germany's help, I don't know if I can repair Russia. I try my best to convince Russia to stop stabbing me. I think that if they have Austria's help, it's not that bad of a move, but I don't want to say that to them, so I'm trying to convince Russia that this was a mistake, and I'm starting to send a lot of press to Russia, and they will respond sporadically, but mostly not, because, I don't know, maybe I exaggerated a little bit with my press. I said, knew it. Can I convince you otherwise? And then since they don't respond for minutes, I say, apparently not. He says, what are you thinking? I'm just stumbling around in the dark. I'm really unprepared for these Blitz games. Yeah, at this point, I think that Austria was really calling the shots and saying to Russia what to do. And Russia was using this to his advantage, because Russia was didn't really know how to handle Blitz games, but Austria did. So Austria helped Russia a lot at this point, and Russia was just following Austria. It's strange because now I know this, but at the time I thought that Austria was Russia's puppet. Actually, it's in a way it's Austria that is controlling Russia. But anyway, I think we will stalemate each other probably. We could have taken Germany on together, but no response to that. To Austria, I just sent this message. That is nice, couldn't convince Russia to do otherwise. I am complimenting Austria for their moves, because they're actually really good moves and they're taking the most revenge they can against me. So good on you, Austria. Austria, you are a formidable opponent and a formidable player of diplomacy. I tip my cap to you. So this was the first message that I sent to Austria in, I think, more than a year, and I'm trying to regain some relationship with Austria, because if I don't speak to Austria at all, they will only stick with Russia, and then I have no hope. So things are not looking that good for me, because I'm fighting Russia and an Austrian puppet, and at the same time Germany seems not willing to turn around against Russia because they want to focus against France. So I don't know, I will try my best to defend what I have and to advance a little bit. So in autumn, I support threats with 2 units, preventing any possible attack from Tyronia, Vienna, and Budapest. I also tap Vienna just in case, and I tap Budapest, maybe a little bit redundant, but no time. And I lose Serbia to the attack from Greece and Bulgaria. So I don't think I made really good moves in this turn, but I don't know, no time trying to do anything to stop this. Yeah, not really good moves here, but probably I expected some different orders from Russia and Austria, so I'm gonna lose a center here because I'm losing Bulgaria and I didn't gain Serbia in return. So yeah, I'm retreating to Albania. I'm not losing a unit because I already destroyed the unit in Bulgaria, so this is my full army at this point, which is not that bad, and I retreat to Albania because in Albania I can do something against Serbia and Greece. So this is the position in winter 1906. At this point, quite unexpectedly, Russia has emerged as the main candidate for winning this game, followed closely, in my opinion, by France, while I don't think I have that much of a shot if Austria and Russia continue to go against me together. So we'll see if I can turn around from this situation, convince Russia to stop attacking me, or convince Austria to stop working with Russia, or if I'm confined to defend against the Russian-Austrian menace while hoping that France stops and cheering for him. We'll see. This was 1905 and 1906 of the Media Wars Blitz game. We'll see you in 1907 for the start of the end game.